With the sun setting, as we begin Sabbath possibly together, I want to offer a prayer for our times. This week, as we watched another gun situation, another shooter kill people in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I'm beginning to wonder when we're going to have a week go by without gun violence. And so as the fires of the Holy Spirit dance around us, or at least we hope that they dance around us, enlightening our hearts, enlivening our spirits to not turn away from the violence, to not turn away from the grief and the lament. May we continue to shake our fists at the violence and the trauma, and may we have the strength and the temerity to keep our hearts strong. And so I offer a prayer that was originally written by the leadership of the United Church of Christ, John Dorhauer, Traci, Blackmon, and Karen Thompson. They are our ministers. And then it's been edited a bit for the ensuing weeks. And so hear this prayer on this Saturday night as I watch two cottontail rabbits do their thing out on our parking lot and the sun sets. In utter and irrepressible grief, we offer these words, giving collective voice to the anguish we all feel. Holy One, you who know a sacredness beyond our understanding, hear our prayer. For the beloved, now dead in Buffalo, Uvalde, Laguna Woods, Milwaukee, Biloxi, Tulsa, and too many cities to name. For the parents, family, and friends who will spend the rest of their lives aching every night from the weight of the senseless loss. For a schoolhouse, grocery store, tennis court, hospital, rendered trauma-laden and grief-stricken in a matter of minutes, whose lives, whose students, whose careers will suffer PTSD in the wake of a tragedy. For the caregivers in these cities now burdened with the task of managing the shared and collective grief of a traumatized community who love their people, their children, their mothers, their directors, their leaders, their doctors. For those who feel the new burden of useless guilt in the aftermath, wondering what else they could have done to prevent the violence. For the nation, so in love with our weapons that we continue to tolerate these mass shootings and the grief that they inflict without ever building the collective will needed to address all this violence fully. For the world, suffering a massive and collective grief of its own and witnessing acts of cruelty daily, too numerous to fully process. Heal our gaping wounds. Restore our sense of compassion. Quiet the restlessness within us. Settle the building righteous anger. Quicken the desire for peace. Remove the chasm that sees race and religion and political persuasion as the marks of a person's worth and value. End the cycle of violence that begets more violence. Silence the voices that broker in fear and division and create the hatred we see mounting everywhere between us. Quiet the troubled soul thinking of grabbing the next gun and ending innocent lives. Empower each and every one of us to act now, refusing to wait for the next horror show before we change the laws that make guns and their discharge so accessible. Turn anguish to action, our rage to restoration, our hatred to love, our grief to hope. Let these acts of violence stop. May they never happen again, ever. For how much more can we bear? How much more can we endure? Be our rock of refuge. Be our light of inspiration. Be our beacon of hope. Be the arms of love that hold us until the pain receives. Beloved, in your mercy, hear our prayers.